them for a while now. We actually met, I think, through an introduction on Facebook years and years ago, and obviously when the Riff Taff networking and everything kind of started, as he said, I literally just emailed him and said, "Oh, you should try setting up a Facebook group for this. It'd be a good idea." And we just got chatting after that. And met a few times and I've been involved with it ever since, but it's really great to see him talk about it because he's so passionate about it, and it's such a good thing, and as I said earlier, there's clearly a real need and want for it, and people are getting a lot out of it, so it's brilliant to have him on the show and just chat about that and hear some cool bands, man. So yeah, that was a good start to the night. Saturday night has begun.
Well, just before we move on though, to get back to, because we didn't really talk about it, but Chris Cornell passing, I mean, that was a shock. I learned about that at 3:30 in the morning. I saw it, you got to be kidding me. Like, I mean, because Grim and one other person had posted, like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, really? Like, why? Like, how? It's like, you know, it just literally hours after his show in Detroit, and now they're saying it's suicide, and now his wife's saying, well, I think it was because of the meds, because he took one or two more Ativan than he was supposed to, because he suffered from depression, this, that, and the other thing. I was like, oh my god, here we go, you know. But they're not really making anything solid till they get the toxicology report back. And it's just why, you know. I mean, it's quite the blow because, like I posted, I was literally shocked and I was at a loss for words. And like, when I sent you that, I was like, man, you have to see it. If you haven't seen it already, and I was just such in shock. And because like I'd seen Soundgarden a few times, and I saw them as Audioslave as well. And it was great concerts, and I was talking about it last night with Brian from NYC Factory Fast Records, and I was saying, because I saw them for the Super Unknown tour, that was really cool, and I was already had a lot of respect for Chris Cornell, because with the guy with such a deep voice can hit such high notes, just unbelievable, right? I mean, and those were crazy. And the two things I mentioned was, one was the album Louder Than Love is the best way to see what Chris Cornell can really do, because there's at least 3 songs on there where he matches the guitar playing, but the high pitch notes, like, and I'm talking high pitch, and it's him doing it, and it starts off with the guitar, and then he comes in, and it's like, holy crap. I mean, like, the song Loud Love is one of them. But it's crazy what pitches he could hit, and it's just unbelievable. But it's such a shock too. But like I was saying, is the one thing it was a bad concert for me, and like I really enjoyed it. And the thing that kind of stuck out the most for me, is like getting that much more respect from him, is when they played Jesus Christ Post live, between the heavy fast guitar riff and just the high pitched notes, which was really, really cool. But the thing that was the most cool about that concert is a song called Head Down off of Super Unknown, has extra drum tracks at the end, obviously done in studio, no problem, easy to do. What they do live, Ben Shepherd and Kim Thale tossed their guitar and their bass to the side and started drumming with Matt Cameron to fill those extra drum tracks.
Yes, yeah, man. No, do you know what I saw? It must have been, when was that released? I think it probably would have been 20 years after.
95, I think Super Unknown was.
90 when, sorry? 94?
I think it was, 94, 95 is when Super Unknown, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so it was 3 or 4 years ago I saw them, and they are actually... it was a great day out, actually. I saw Motorhead. I've seen, had seen loads and loads of times, but always good to see Motorhead. Saw Soundgarden, saw Faith No More, and I'm pretty sure it was the one that I saw Black Sabbath with that day. Really, really cool day out. But it was 20 years, I think, or 25. Must have been 20 years since Super Unknown. And they played it from start to finish. They played every track, and it was absolutely outstanding. I must say, Chris Cornell was a massive influence, and Soundgarden generally a massive influence on kind of pretty much everything I've ever done with the guitar. They were one of the first kind of grunge bands I got into, and as anyone listening will know, I'm kind of a big grunge geek, and it's just so much range. I mean, like, Fell on Black Days is just an absolutely stunning and beautiful song. Is it Ty Cobb, Hard Headed Fuck You All? That's a fantastic song off the band, I think. There's so much, and
Ty Cobb was on Down to the Upside, though.
Oh, was it on Down to the Upside?
Yeah, Ty Cobb was on Down to the Upside, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, there's just so many, and it's I think what was shocking for everyone, because Soundgarden were a fantastic band, but also he was an amazing talent. One of the questions I saw only a few months ago, actually, like radio stations will often post questions to kind of get people to comment and boost their kind of online presence. And one was best vocalist, Chris Cornell or Robert Plant. And the more I thought about it, the more I couldn't decide. And, it's one that genuinely, normally you just scroll past them, it was one that was like, actually, what is the answer to that? And you kind of look into the comments to see what the debate is and see what people are saying. And it's true, man. Like, what an outstanding talent. Really, really shocking. And obviously, 52 years old, and whether it's, planned suicide or, overdose or prescription drug overdose related suicide or whatever you describe that as, it's just a really tragic thing for music in general. So, and I actually knew nothing about it because I was sitting in a basement doing a training course for my full-time job, which was not interesting, really. And then I got your text. I was like, oh my god, what is this day?
And a few days before that, you'd posted, the band's talking about the movie Singles, which we talked about just a few weeks ago as well. Of course, Chris Cornell was in it. He didn't say much. He was pretty much sitting on the couch with Eddie Vedder watching a documentary on bees. And that's when Jeff Ament comes in and says, "Hey Cliff, can you move your van while we're young?" Like his big line, right?
That's it, man. That was the thing. And it was kind of if I hadn't been away actually in this training thing, that was something I was going to watch again this week. Yeah. Well, I almost feel like I can't. Like,
it's something like a Spinal Tap, right? Because that was a band, Citizen Dick.
Yeah.
And then Allison, they had like about 2-minute clip of Alice in Chains playing "It Ain't Like That" off their album Facelift, and the soundtrack was really cool. I mean, like a songwriter song "Birth Ritual," and I know it was on a like a B-side single, and I think it might be on that LP as well or soundtrack as well. It's a song called "Cold Bitch," and if it's not, that is such a badass tune, and I can't believe it never was on an album. To be honest with you.
Yeah, that I can't pick that tune straight away, but I do know the one you mean. But that whole soundtrack to that film it's got Pearl Jam and Mudhoney, and it's got Mother Love Bone on it.
Yep.
And in fact, isn't Mother Love Bone the reason that Temple of the Dog existed? It was the guys from that then went on to form Pearl Jam and Soundgarden. It was basically Chris Cornell getting them together. Didn't he used to live with what's his name, the guy that died, Andrew?
Yeah, I can't remember his last name, but yeah, he was 24 years old, OD'd on heroin.
Yeah, and it's amazing the influence he had on the whole thing. You kind of got like the Green River, Mudhoney kind of side of the grunge story, and then Chris Cornell really led the rest of it. He kind of out of that came Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains out of kind of all connected to him in one way or another.
Exactly.
Which is fascinating, really. How does one man in one town have that much influence?
Well, that's right. And even on their Alice in Chains EP Sap, there's a song at the very end of the track called "It Ain't Right," and of course, who is on that track? None other than Chris Cornell.
Chris Cornell, yeah, and he did the best Bond theme ever since.
That's
the
right, yeah.
Bassey years, anyway. I'm a Shirley Bassey fan, I must say, but that track is phenomenal. He's just an all-round amazing guy, and it's it's always sad when someone dies, whether you know them or not, whether they're famous or not. I mean, the one that really got me, and actually I was only talking about the other night, was Lemmy. I still am sad about Lemmy because I saw Motorhead first in, I think it was 2004, 2005, and my dad said you have to go and see them because he won't be around much longer. And then we just went every year.
Right on.
Every year thinking it'd be the last, and then we had tickets for the one that he would have played over here a month or two after he did actually die. And it still gets me. Lemmy was a massive thing, but Chris Cornell's right up there, and in my mind, it's just such a massive influence, and some people won't even know the influence he has behind the scenes.
And if you think of it too, there's really only like one more, maybe two more out of that kind of solid grunge kind of group there, because there's Eddie Vedder and Perry Farrell from Jane's Addiction, right? So.
Yeah, Mark Arm's still going. I did see Mudhoney a few years ago, and I think he does some solo stuff. And Mark Lanigan, I think, is still around. I mean, he's alive. I don't know if he's doing much, but he's done a few bits. But yeah, of the kind of the core that that big four, if you like, big 4 or 5 that people kind of know, because not everyone will know Screaming Trees or that they should or whatever. But yeah, of those, it's really just those few guys, and it's shocking because. None of them have made it into any sort of age. They were all kids in the 90s, and that wasn't long ago. So,
well, that's right,
one of them's got to go to 80 or whatever. This is not right. We can't.
Well, hopefully.
My 5-year-old son's going to grow up thinking all these people must have been off their heads, which I suppose they were. But
Yeah.
you want one to survive and write a really, really good track when he's about 18, so his generation go, oh wow, what was that? And check out all the grunge stuff. Otherwise, it's just like storytelling for people like me. So someone's got to keep going.
Well, right on. So next up, we're going to continue on with a new Who Killed Nancy Johnson live song. This one's called Human Resources. Dig this.
Looks around for a career. Has a vague idea to make a difference. So he signs his life away for a private space and pay. Fights for flag and economic interest. They take him to a foreign land, put a rifle in his hand, dole out ration packs and boots, tell him who and when to shoot. Gunfather, 15,000 bone an hour, colors sold like flowers on the market. All human resources for the meal, and the capital will take a profit. She is young and loves romance, dreams of taking someone chance, finds a friend online who seems so different. So she steals her mother's cash, grabs a passport, makes a dash, finds a puppy at the airport check-in. They take her to a foreign land, pass her on from hand to hand, take her passport so she's stopped, tell her who and when to. Godfather, 15,000 bone an hour, colors sold like flowers on the market. All human resources for the meal, and the capital will take a profit. For the meal, and the capital will take a profit. Gunfather, 15,000 bone an hour, colors sold like flowers on the market. All human resources for the meal, and the capital will take a profit.
Who Killed Nancy Johnson with Human Resources live. Now, that was pretty cool. That was like a pretty punk and raw, and like, it sounded really cool live. I could really enjoy that tune.
Yeah, I can't imagine there's many people in the world left that don't know how much I love Who Killed Nancy Johnson. So I won't kind of bang that drum again because I think they're fantastic. What I will say is Steph, who's the lead singer, is also, as again people know if they've heard this before, he's the lead singer in the Bronsons, who I saw last night, and that was the gig with Juxta and Chiro, and I can tell you his voice, you can get it actually from that because it's a live recording, but his voice when you're there really gets through you. It's a really, really strong vocal delivery, and there's something about the way he does it because he's actually quite laid back in the way he does it and the way it comes across, but he's note perfect and he's brilliant. He's one of the best vocalists I've ever seen as well. So yeah, he's top quality. They're top quality. I love Who Killed Nancy Johnson. I don't know who actually killed Nancy Johnson. I know who Nancy Johnson is, but I love the bands. I think they're right up with one of my favourite bands ever, to be honest with you. Quality team.
Right on. Well, next up we have another new one by Mr. Happy Chainsaw off their new EP. It's Not My Ball. This one's called Leaving Town. Dig this.
Where do we start? Let's start at the beginning. After I saw her face, it was everything I was thinking. What did I do?